What script? Is there a script? There's a bit of script.
Gummit, Devin.
When
Stay
does
on
second
script.
break start?
Second break?
Yeah. Or come back. When we come back.
3:30. Oh, when you come back?
Yeah. From second break.
Second break.
Like, is that like second breakfast?
Yes. Well,
He doesn't know
I do
anything
have
about
hair on my
second
toes, so I
breakfast.
might be a bit hobbish.
It's going to be right around 3:30.
Ooh, I just pictured that.
Right around brunch.
Around brunch.
Yeah.
All right. You got hair? You got like large scale hair on your toes?
No, God, no. That'd be weird. I have to shave my
That
toes.
would be awful. Hey, I want you to know, I cut my hair this morning. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Hey, I did the same thing today.
I cut my hair. Well, I don't have nearly the mop that you do, young man. But,
The mop.
yeah.
Thank you for that. I really
You're quite welcome, man. We're here to please, buddy.
Did I let you know that our engineer almost had to cancel our show due to homicide?
Whoa. Whoa, you're streaming. You're streaming.
What did Joe kill somebody?
Apparently
No.
somebody jumped out from behind my car when I was backing into
No,
my
she
spot.
was totally not paying attention, and he's like backing up, and she just walks like right through the parking spot.
I was looking at my side view mirror trying to line myself
Oh, yeah,
upright, and
yeah.
I must not have seen her.
Last time I checked, that car you drive probably don't have a backup camera on it.
Oh, no.
But she did a little hop, skip, and a jump. It was very impressive.
Who was it?
It was our birthday winner from Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just showed up to get a prize? And
She
got
came
me
to get her
back
And
out
a
of
prize.
it?
workout. You know, it's-
That's a fine
Get
hattie
scared
to
for
do.
her life while she's here. You know, we
Yeah.
give the full experience here
Yeah,
at
that's right.
WSIC.
And then she was
You're
so
a winner.
sweet. She picked up our Amazon
Yeah.
Amazon package. I thought she worked here. She's carrying an Amazon package.
did
in. I was
too.
like, when'd you get hired? I didn't know. I'm Devin. Nice to meet you.
I took the phone number off of your stream,
Oh, great. Thanks.
so you won't get any calls. Hopefully.
I thought Chris was calling. Well, we're not live. Oh.
I muted your mics. 2 minutes.
Oh man. All right, we're back. Hey, we're getting ready to go live here in how long? About a minute and a half. Let's see if
Hey, we got a project of the week.
we do not. I
We
mean,
gonna
we
talk
could.
about military makeover.
We could talk about the military makeover project. I think, and you know about that fella, right?
Huh?
You know about that fella,
Oh yeah,
Jared.
Oh yeah,
you know
very
about
much so,
Jared.
Very much. So.
You know a lot more about Jared than I do.
I've
so
known him since he was 11.
11.
11. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Wow.
1 minute.
And he's still a young
1
man.
minute.
That tells you how old I am.
I don't think that they're sharing.
All right. You want me to share?
Well, I was wanting
I love
Durant to share.
sharing. I love sharing.
WSIC news. We're just gonna.
There's only 2 people watching.
What?
Yeah.
It's me.
Wow.
It's me.
Yeah, I
I'm
bring,
one
I
of
bring
them.
the ruckus.
That's rookie numbers.
Share now.
Oh, now it's only 1.
Oh, that's terrible.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Did you text Durant?
No, I just shared it. I had the time.
Oh, okay.
I think it did. Still don't set it up.
Mic's off. We have 10 seconds.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Gallina and Brad Borders.
Well, hello.
Ah, good Thursday to you.
Good Thursday. Hey, welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
You know, I think what we're going to do, I think we're going to go to more of an NPR mindset, public radio set, where we have to talk like this.
yeah, I
It's
could,
so
I could
good
do
to
this.
see you, Devin. Thank you for being
You
here.
know, Brad, It's,
there's going to be a craft fair this weekend.
oh, that sounds absolutely invigorating.
Doesn't it?
yeah.
Doesn't it? Though?
I
Our
hope
next
there's
music
needlepoint.
set will be Tchaikovsky, so in D minor. So
Do they?
no, let's don't do that.
play,
Let's don't do that.
Yeah, no.
Hey,
No.
welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. Purple Heart Homes is a 501c3 based out of Statesville, North Carolina, and we do work for veterans both locally,
Locally,
and
yes.
nationally,
And-
and you can and nationally, and you can find out more about us at phhusa.org. That's phhusa.org, and we're live here on WSIC News Talk Now.
Oh my!
Thank you. Thank you.
It's changed.
Oh, it's
I
changed.
told you it was
You-
changed.
but you didn't write it down, and you didn't put it on a sweatshirt
well, you know,
where I
a,
could see
a
it.
professional would know.
Oh,
well, now,
jeez.
sir, now we know, right? What is the
didn't
news?
even-
What's the new jingle?
Local starts here.
Local.
Locals.
Okay, let me do it. Let's rewind. And you're listening to us live on WSIC. Local starts here. That new tagline is now my fee now for saying that.
I don't
Justin
think-
Kazepis is $23.11. I mean, my bank account is rolling just because of this new sponsorship deal.
And anyway, so we have a great guest today.
Yes, we do.
Matt Ferry of Right Minds, Tight Lines. I just,
You're
I
just
didn't have
looking
anything.
at me and laughing at me, right? I mean, just laughing at me. You're not even laughing with
I
me.
am not laughing with you. I don't. I want to make that clear for all of our listeners / viewers that I am not laughing with Brad, but
Okay.
at him.
All right, thank you very much. Okay.
But let's get to our wonderful guest. He is a Marine, of course.
What is? Wait a minute. Just stop. Stop, Matt. No offense here, but for the last 8 shows, it seems that we've just had Marine Corps guests. Right?
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what
it's like-
happens when you put me in charge of scheduling the
You
guests.
didn't know anybody else. He's just new Marines. Is that was it? It's like I can only invite the cult members.
I
Is that what-
wanted to have good guests.
Oh, well, now
we have
know.
the commandant, the
You
Marine
did-
Corps.
I mean,
and then
what an incredible show. I mean, Matt, did you know we had the 37th Commandant of the Marine Corps on the show last week?
I did. I was, and that's going to be a tough show to follow. So.
Oh
I'll do
man,
my
you're gonna
best,
do
but-
fine. You're gonna do great, man. He's a really unique guy, and I'm really glad that we had him on. And I saw Colonel Doug Mason today. And did you know
You
that
did?
Colonel Doug actually served with him and knows him?
I am not very surprised at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Bob. Yeah, I know Bob.
But yeah. So that last week we had the officer perspective.
Yeah.
This week we have the enlisted perspective with Matt. So hey, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Maine, born in Portland. Moved around a little bit in Maine, and mainly grew up in Maine. Scarborough was the last place I lived there, and then New Hampshire, and then off to the Marines.
Oh wow. So you just got tired of being cold and decided to go to a place where they were gonna make you cold. and-
Where did you do your? Did you do? I guess you were East Coast for your Marine Corps recruit depot in Paris
I
Island.
was.
Yep.
I was at the depot on Paris Island,
That's-
as Chris alluded to earlier from K-Bar last couple weeks.
Yeah, because like the folks from Paris Island don't cotton with the folks from out west. Is that what it is?
Well,
is there
it's-
some rivalry?
It's just that real Marines come from an island.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. All right. I mean,
And,
I'm foreseeing push-ups from Devin.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble there.
You
aren't I?
are going to get in trouble. The
yeah.
Marine Corps moms are going to be calling you.
That's not true. They have Marines that come from the mountains as well. They just happen to wear sunglasses.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all.
Got it.
Yeah, we call those Hollywood Marines out there on the West Coast.
So, Matt, what'd you do? What'd you do in the Marine Corps? What was your gig, man?
I was an 0811 field artillery cannon crewman. That
Cannon.
was my ambulance.
Great. So, were you the guy that did you get to pull the lanyard, or were you loading, or all of the above?
I got to do a little bit of all of it. A friend of mine while I was in actually taught me how to slap fire, which is not using a lanyard, just using your bare hand. So we tried to push the limits any chance we could.
Slap fire.
Slap fire. Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
Where
please
you
explain.
just hit the side of the tube and off the
So
shell goes?
rather than backing up and holding your lanyard and turning and firing, there would be times where I'm probably not supposed to be saying this, but rather than hooking up to the lanyard,
Right.
you're literally arm's length away, and you pull the end of the lanyard by hand, and you have to avoid the whole rear
Oh,
carriage of the howitzer.
Right, because
So
that thing moves back at a rapid pace.
it sure does, and
Yeah.
it will knock you on your what.
Oh
if you're
yeah,
not
it could
careful.
knock you to the Lord. in
have
a
you
hurry if
ever
want to.
physically seen somebody get hit by that thing, get nailed by the back of that cannon?
Not full on, but I've definitely seen people take edges of it and take shoulders out and things like that, but nothing to where anybody was hurt or injured, thankfully.
Well,
Yeah.
it's way better than being on the receiving end of that piece of equipment.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
absolutely, way better. So,
Indeed.
how long did you serve?
I was in 4 years, one term.
Okay, got you. You said 04 was when you entered service? Is that correct?
02 to 06.
02 to 06. My apologies. Did you have some time downrange in the desert areas of the world?
I did. So when I first got to Pendleton, my unit was over in Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
So they attached us to a headquarters unit in Camp Margarita at Pendleton, where we basically just pulled like guard duty and stuff until they realized that like a good amount of us were going to be going over to Kuwait to attach to 2-6 from Lejeune to do various duties, guard duty, logistics type stuff. And we weren't attached to any units. We were all kind of just from all different MOSs and walks of life, and had almost no training of any kind. And we're sent to Kuwait. And I spent a little under 6 months there. Was my first time, and then went back 04 and 05 in Iraq.
Okay.
With Golf 211.
Okay. And we're coming up on a break here in just a minute and a half or so, but in 04 and 05, was that the Fallujah time frame? That all of that, right?
Yep. So we were involved in Phantom Fury.
Okay.
In Fallujah.
Yep. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, man. Well, I know for those listening that were there, and those of us that experienced that time, there was some hairy days, and so with all of that, we are definitely grateful for your service to our country, and we're super glad that you're here today. And on the show, we always want to do a bio and hear from our guests, and because their service is kind of what brings them on, but we're also focused on transition as well, and what folks are doing to better their communities and better the lives of other veterans. And so Matt's got a real good story about that, and we're going to do that right when we come back here in a couple of minutes. So
Absolutely. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll be back right back.
More Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, another night.
Oh, there we are.
I think we were going to break. You went, we'll be back right back.
Back right back. Yeah.
Is that like dress? Dress right dress.
It's like dress right. Yeah, it's
back
a little
right
bit
back,
like dress right dress.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So,
Hey, Matt, I don't know if I told you this, but we are live during the breaks on Facebook. Now, if you want to say a word that is not FCC okay, this is the time that you do it.
but not after this time.
Yeah, not after
As
this time.
as some, and I will say this. I'll just confess this right here in public forum. They were my friends.
Yeah.
That could not contain themselves during the FCC regulated time. Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, although I will say
all
the
my Green Beret
commandant,
buddies cannot stop cussing.
the
right?
commandant did drop a few words.
He
that,
did drop.
he
He did. He launched a couple of salvos.
He only dropped one during the show. though.
only
That's
one
right.
during the show.
He got it out during the breaks.
He
That's-
did. Yeah, he definitely
did,
got
yeah.
it out during
Oh,
He was getting it
he was
out.
great. Oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, we're getting ready to go back on there. I can't tell this story.
Yeah,
It was so perfect.
it was awesome. So Matt, we're gonna get into transition in a minute, maybe some challenges and stuff. But We got 2 minutes, but for those that are watching on Facebook, so tell us what's your favorite type of fishing to do, because fishing's your thing.
I mean, the most prevalent fishing that I do is bass fishing, but if you're asking my favorite kind, it's really going down to Hilton Head, South Carolina, with a couple of really good friends of mine. Once a year, and we go after big cobia and king mackerel.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
About 20 miles offshore, make a whole weekend out of it.
So in the bass fishing realm, are you tracking these dudes who like bass fish out of these pedal and step kayaks? Are you tracking this stuff, man?
I'm one of them.
So
that's great.
So we're going to talk about this because this is germane to the subject. You like that word, don't you? Germane.
I don't. It just reminds me of the Jackson 5.
But there's a big kayak anglers tournament. Foothills Kayak Anglers putting on one here in July on Lake Norman, and the proceeds are coming to Purple Heart Homes, and I'll connect you up with those cats. But we'll talk more about that.
I've mentioned this to Matt, and I'm hoping he's going to be able to make it out.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Fantastic.
I had no idea it was such a big deal.
30 seconds?
It's a giant deal. I mean, it's huge.
It's a cult.
Yeah. All right, 30 seconds. Mike's going off soon?
In
like
about
now?
15 seconds.
Oh, 15 seconds.
I'm
You got
shut
any
them off.
quick good words in 15 seconds for our Facebook friends?
Onomatopoeia.
Drop some bombs.
Onomatopoeia.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whoa.
You said good words. That was
That is a
supposed
good
to
word.
say. Yeah, it's a good word.
That is a good word. Well, to have.
All right. Mike's muted.
I'll tell you about it.
Together continues now. Here are your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders, on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And we're back. Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We're joined by Matt Ferry, Marine Corps veteran, and he's still taking care of veterans even almost 20 years after his service. And we're really excited to have him on the show. Devin, please remind me of the name of his nonprofit.
Right Minds and Tight Lines.
Is that you can imagine with tight lines, that's going to be about fishing, and evidently fishing has something to do with getting your mind right. And that's why Matt's here. So, Matt, thanks for joining us. John is off on a secret mission today.
This is actually a secret mission.
It is actually a literal secret mission. You have to have TSSCI clearance to be where he's at.
Normally, when Brad says that, it's just banter, but
right,
this time
he's actually
it's
literally on a secret mission. It's so secret, I don't even know where he is.
Oh,
so,
I know, but I can't tell you. It's secret.
All right, I'd have to kill you. Right. So, hey, Matt, thank you again for joining us today, and we're really grateful when you shared with us about your time in the Marine Corps as a cannon crewman and a couple of deployments downrange. And so, when it came time to, your enlistment came up and you were trying, I guess at some point you were like, hey, should I stay in or is it time to get out? What was that process like? And what was going through your head?
Quite frankly, it was pretty ugly. So we came back at a time, I think that Chris from K-Bart alluded to in his episode that, they didn't really have a protocol of dealing with things like PTSD and post-deployment type emotions. So we were allowed to do whatever we wanted. And I was one of the guys that just went out and partied and enjoyed Southern California to the max. And I knew that I didn't really feel like going back to Iraq. So I basically, on a whim, decided to move cross country to Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. When I got out, and kind of just spent a few years living like a beach bum, bartending, continuing the party. It really wasn't any time frame right out of the gate that I was ready to start transitioning. I wasn't mentally ready yet.
Was there a time where you were like, hey man, I might have some things going on inside of me that need to be dealt with? Did you like have a revelatory moment where you were like, did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, it happened on a couple occasions, but the most prevalent one came after I gave up drinking in 2015. I had plenty of self reflection moments where I knew that I was a problem and I had problems, but I just kept pushing it down and drinking more and it wasn't until I finally gave that up and was going through a separation
Yeah.
that I was fishing one day, and it was just like, I can't be the only one dealing with this.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're right. I mean, and you couldn't have said it any better. I teach and for those that are local, on February 20th, we're going to be starting the 7th year of reboot recovery, military reboot for combat veterans and for veterans who've experienced some type of trauma in their service. And one of the things that people will say is when they come to the class, like they're kind of, everybody's kind of looking around going, nobody in here understands me. And then, usually like week 3 or week 4, like somebody will go, what I didn't realize is like everybody in here understands what I'm going through, right?
It's strange how you get with other folks and you find out that you're not alone. But it takes a lot to make that transition. It sounds like you kind of found that peace on your own a little bit through fishing, though. Is that why you decided to bring that to other veterans?
Yeah, I mean, was fishing something that you had done for your whole life, or was it something you took up after the Marine Corps?
So fishing was introduced to me as a kid. My father, he passed when I was young, but not before introducing fishing to me. I fished all throughout my youth, and then basically broke away from it when I was in the Marines, but came right back to it. And when I was in Hilton Head, I did it for different reasons because it was more of a social thing. But I always did it on my own by myself to escape everything, and it worked no matter what was going on.
Right. And so as fishing brought, I think there's something healing, and Project Healing Waters is another nonprofit that gets veterans fishing, but there's something healing about being around water, right? Just like if you go and stand beside a river, right? And I'm a fly fisherman, and so if you stand beside a river, it is really hard to be anxious. It's extremely difficult to be anxious.
Oh yeah, there's definitely something soothing about that. And so
absolutely.
So what transitioned you from you fishing to getting other folks fishing? What did that look like?
So it basically just started with, that revelation of knowing in my gut that I wasn't alone with dealing with all these, weird feelings and emotions and life changes and things that I had brought on myself, et cetera. So I started the page on Instagram initially just as like a community, just as for veterans who fish. It was very simple. And it was originally called Veterans Fishing. That is still what the LLC is called. It's not a nonprofit, just to correct you guys. I am a LLC that doesn't take a paycheck. I donate basically everything away. But the reason I chose to go that route in the beginning was there's a long wait to start a nonprofit, and there's different things that you have to go through to get to that status.
Oh, it's super challenging. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I wanted something as quick as possible to start trying to bring folks together and raise money if I could. And that's what naturally kind of started progressing with the page as fast as it grew.
So that was kind of around the 2015-16 timeframe when you kind of got all of that going?
I started the page, I believe, in like the end of 2016, was going through, still my separation and everything from my ex-wife, and basically started the LLC and had it live by January of 2019. So I had the page a year or two before I actually made it into a company and something that I wanted to do full time.
Right. So do you have like a mission statement and all of that? What's your mission statement?
So my mission statement is very simple. It's to help veterans in any way possible that I can, specifically through the means of fishing and therapy.
Got it.
And what I try to act as is an arm for the nonprofits that already do exist out there. I work with a very core group of ones that I've been on trips with, not necessarily to say they're the best, but just ones that I knew in the beginning and was able to help out with fundraising and things like that. And when they get a random sum of money from me, no matter how big or small it is, they're beyond grateful. So I'm just happy to be able to throw a little bit extra in the bucket.
That's cool.
That's awesome that you're trying to give back to those places that gave back to you and connect other folks with that. When you do this, how do the veterans get in touch with you so that you can connect them with the right place?
Fortunately, there's almost no more need for me. That was the goal originally, was to basically not feel like there's a single nonprofit out there that does fishing and veterans or outdoors and veterans that is just in dire need of help. Like, everybody's got a really good crew surrounding them these days. But I basically just wanted to act as a way of trying to connect the veteran with the nonprofit, or a veteran with another veteran close to where they live. So when I have someone reach out to me, there's a line of questions that I go through, eventually figuring out what they're looking for or what they need. There has been times where I've had to tell veterans, you're not ready for a fishing trip. You need to seek, some actual therapy before we get you out there. It's a tough conversation to have sometimes, but we just want to make sure everybody's doing the right thing for themselves and being safe. And I'm putting people in front of other people that I at least know are going to help them out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing for sometimes those folks, you may be the first person they're opening up to. Yeah.
So a lot of what I do is intangible. I don't have a page on my website that says we've helped X amount of veterans, we've raised X amount of dollars, we've helped fund X amount of trips. The stats are not important to me. The stat that is important to me is the suicide rate.
Yeah.
And until that is near zero or zero, I don't plan on stopping doing whatever I decide to do every week to try and help.
Cool. Well, we got about a minute and a half or so till we go to a break again. And Matt, before we go to break, and just be thinking about this, I'd like you to think maybe one or two stories from a veteran that you've connected with fishing that you could share with folks that might be meaningful to people that are listening. And this is Matt Ferry with Right Minds and Tight Line.
Right Minds.
I did that right.
You did.
Yeah.
Good job there, Brad.
I nailed it.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
No, I mean, I'm still having trouble with WSIC's local talk now. Nope.
No,
this is local news now.
That's
nope.
okay. It's
local here now, right? Yeah, they're getting.
Well, we're also sending this out nationally, so it's okay if we don't get the local
Maybe it's
part
not
in.
so. Yeah, the local national thing.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
I wonder if I got a
and
deduction.
a shout out to all those folks who are listening that are not local to Statesville.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. That's exactly.
You could be listening to us in Alaska on.
You could be.
Yeah.
Scotty Pig could be listening.
Absolutely.
Brother Oink up in Alaska could be listening to us. So
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna take a quick break to hear from some amazing sponsors. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes here on WSIC, with a tagline attached to the end of it.
Absolutely.
Keep it right here. Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders will return after these messages on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Local?
We're trying to get away from that.
Trying to get away from what? I'm out.
What I miss?
I like to say on my show that WSIC is worldwide. You can get us in Antarctica
Yeah.
Let's do it
through the website.
WSIC worldwide now.
Yeah.
I love that.
Worldwide now.
Yeah.
We'll just make up a new tag.
We are worldwide.
So
you can
we
get us in
should,
China.
Yeah, that's
What
true.
is that? We got to make a new acronym. WSIC is world.
Wide now.
No, there's.
Well,
that's not for the. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm loving listening to you guys, man.
Oh, yeah. We do have a caller on the line, but I was going to wait till we come back from break.
All right.
We're gonna have a little special guest. So, hey, is there any like fun story that you could tell us right now that would not be radio friendly?
From like military experience?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, something about a porta john or something.
Yeah, I mean, when we were in Iraq at first, we were in Madiasis, which was this middle of nowhere. We were guarding an airstrip. It was like we were guarding sand for all intents and purposes. But then we went to Ramadi, and we were basically doing nothing for the first few weeks. And a couple of us at night found out that you could drink Listerine and have a pretty good time.
Oh gosh. Well,
So
you know,
we weren't going on any convoys. We weren't. In absolutely no way was this or a good idea. But you know, when you're trying to get your fear away, that's one way to do it.
Well, our friend Chris does have a soap called Whiskey and Bad Decisions. So
that's right.
Listerine and Bad Decisions.
Listerine and Bad
You know,
Decisions.
that was the name of my punk band back in the 80s.
2
Was
minutes.
it really?
Yeah. No.
I don't think that he could use Listerine in his title. It's probably like trademarked or something.
Listerine and Bad Decisions?
Yeah, he couldn't say that because Listerine's a brand.
I want to do a beard oil for Purple Heart Homes and call it Smells Like Sawdust and Victory.
Sawdust and Victory. Yeah, that's a
that would be a seller, I'm telling you.
See?
yeah.
You were not overwhelmed with that. You didn't go, ooh, that sounded awesome.
I worked at a trade show with Chris and watched these people come in the booth one at a time and buy Whiskey and Bad Decisions one after the other just because of the name.
Absolutely.
Oh,
So-
that makes a lot of sense.
That's why I bought it. Yeah.
Yep.
It smells great too.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot better than the smell that I normally smell.
Exude.
Disappointment.
Right. It smells like
It
disappointment.
smells like disappointment.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Hey, this is Devin. He smells like disappointment.
Do you think
Sorry,
that Chris would make me that scent? This.
Hi, my name's Devin. I smell like mediocrity.
I would buy that bar just to see what
buy that.
mediocrity smelled like.
Mediocrity smells as mediocre as I thought it would.
It probably smells like stale French fries and
Like the inside of a Walmart.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's not so great.
Oh man, that now
30 seconds.
Our new beard oil smells like Walmart.
Oh yeah. Hey, maybe we could get them to be a sponsor. Yeah.
So worried about
Oh
you.
my gosh.
We have
you don't
run
think-
off all the listeners.
all tens
No.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
Tens.
4.
Well, I know. Tens and tens.
10 seconds.
Tens and tens of listeners.
Tens and fours of listeners.
That's just on Facebook.
All right,
bring
mic's
us-
off.
Bring us back in, Devin.
Together.
Now, more Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. If you want to know more about Purple Heart Homes, go to phhusa.org.
What? Did you almost forget it?
I almost said .gov for some reason.
.gov.
I was
.gov.
yeah,
.edu.
.edu. Oh yeah, that'd be.
As if we were a school or something.
You know, yeah, we're at the School of Hard Knocks over here, brother.
That's right.
It's,
That's
yeah,
right.
and
And don't forget, you're listening on WSIC. That is worldwide talk now.
Yeah, worldwide talk now. We have changed the tagline. I hope you don't mind.
It's going to be a new one every week now.
Could we do that?
We can.
Yeah, a new
Until Justin
tagline.
says no.
I'll allow it.
Oh, thanks,
okay.
Joe.
Engineer
Appreciate that.
says yes.
Right,
So,
yeah. Then-
thank you, Joe.
Then we're good. Then we're good. Hey, we've got our friend Matt Ferry on the line with Right Minds and Tight Lines. He is a Marine Corps veteran, and lo and behold, we have a guest caller on the line.
A guest caller. What, Joe? What were we supposed to get callers?
Okay.
Hey, hello, caller. Who is this?
Well, hello. How are y'all?
I'm wonderful.
I know who this is.
Chris at K-Bar, and I could not miss the opportunity to sing my praises about Matt and what he does.
Oh, man.
I couldn't think of two better groups to be together when you talk about putting pieces back together. And what he did for me through his recreational therapy introduced me to a whole new way of looking at healing. And I'm indebted to him for it. So great organization, and I love that you two are together. And talking about it.
That is incredible. Chris, thank you for calling in. For everybody that doesn't know, that's Chris from K-Bar Soap, and you can look them up. And if you want to be clean and good looking, like me and Devin, you can get you some K-Bar Soap. Yeah.
You go fishing with Matt, and then and we can clean you up afterwards.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
I want to tell everybody this about Chris. I just ordered some beard oil from him, and I found this out today and I got this as soon as I got my package in. Hand signed thank you card in every order for every customer.
That's pretty amazing. I mean,
that is
who
legit.
does that?
Chris does.
Wow.
K-Bar Soap.
K-Bar Soap.
KBarSoapCo.com.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, Chris, what are you doing right now?
So I'm taking a break from getting tattooed at the local tattoo parlor down here in beautiful South Carolina.
Are you getting Devin's name tattooed on you?
Please.
Yes. Actually, I'm getting Devin's portrait with the beard and all.
Oh, man. Wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
That big of an impression.
Sounds like you've had some whiskey and bad decisions.
Yeah.
Well, there was no whiskey involved. It was just a straight bad decision.
Just straight bad decisions. I can appreciate that. I've made plenty of those without having whiskey involved. I assure you.
Matt, while we got Chris on the line, do you want to say anything laudatory about him?
Yeah, I mean it goes both ways. He's one of the greatest guys I've ever met, and I originally met him for trying to set up a trip for him and a close friend of his, and my friend and I were with him and his friend, and we clicked so well right out of the gate that here we are, 3.5, 4 years almost later, and we're pretty solid buddies, and I have fishing to thank for that to an extent, because that's the vice that brought us together.
That's amazing.
Hey,
and that's the power behind what Matt does, is putting people together. It's about finding that brotherhood again, and around recreational therapy, doing something other than just going out drinking and doing what we typically did, doing an activity. And I'm indebted to him forever for it. So I'll let y'all finish up with him, but I just wanted to say I appreciate what you both do. And y'all have a good rest of your show.
You too, sir.
Thanks,
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, good luck on that tattoo there, of Devin's face on his left shoulder blade.
I'm so excited, and
Wow, you're immortalized on K-Bar Soap's body.
Wow, maybe you'll make it his new logo, like just a picture of me, like smiling with my thumbs up.
He wants to make sales, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
So, speaking of sales, do you need sales when you're going fishing? No, you don't sell fish on a sailboat, do you?
Well, I mean, I guess you could. It's not normally a thing, right?
It's not the ideal vessel.
Not the ideal vessel. So, go ahead.
What sort of vessels do you go out on these fishing trips in? Are you doing the kayak thing? You got the big boat, deep sea?
So I have 2 pedal kayaks that I use myself. I would say 95% of the trips that I've had any hand in whatsoever since day one have been virtual help. I haven't even been on the trip. There's been trips in California that I've had hands in that I've never even met the people that I've worked with to set it up. So this year is a big transition for me personally, wanting to get out and do a lot more of that in person, specifically here in North Carolina.
Awesome. So, hey, before we went to break, and everybody, this is Matt Ferry from Right Minds and Tight Lines. Matt, I asked you to think about, and we just had Chris call in from K-Bar Soap, who's obviously was impacted by you getting him out on the water. Is there another veteran story that you might have for us that, or for our listeners, that might be meaningful to them?
So it's not so much the act of fishing sometimes that gets people to, come out of their shell or talk. I just having the platform and having the confidence that I do in myself to message back basically every single person that ever messages me. And one gentleman comes to mind that was in the midst of looking for fishing trips, but wasn't finding much, and he basically had told me by the time I got done talking to him and hooking him up with another local guy in Florida that he was steps away from ending it, and that I somehow changed his mind, and
Wow.
we didn't even have a line in the water.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of humbling, isn't it?
yeah, very. And
Yeah.
I've had that happen a few times, and it's just being available to people does more than I can even put into words.
That human connection with someone else who seems like they understand. That there's just something special about that you can't put into words, and that's what folks like Chris do every day is just give somebody someone to talk to. I mean, it's really not about the fishing trips, is it? It's a
No, I mean, you can be out on the water and be stressed out of your mind. That's an absolute possibility, especially if you're taking the sport too seriously and you're not allowing yourself to be healed. I mean, you actually have to allow yourself to be in that frame of mind to accept all of the stuff that's coming at you, the sounds, the smells, the surroundings, and the people. You have to be present in mind to allow yourself to be, receptive to
and
that.
it's difficult for people sometimes to just be present in the moment, and because our brains are continually either thinking backwards or thinking forwards, right? We're thinking about what happened to us, or we're thinking about what's tomorrow hold, and worrying about what might be coming, and then sometimes you might miss what's going on in the here and now that might be awesome, right? It might be incredibly profound. Well, one of the things that's been helpful for me is just building a fire in a fire pit, right? Just standing by a fire. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to do anything. I just stand by the fire and feel the warmth of the fire, and it just helps me to just kind of unwind and just be there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a great concept, and it's absolutely truthful. So, events do you promote different kind of events that veterans can get involved with? Who are like, we got a minute before break, but who are kind of like what's your go-to thing? It's like if I called in right now and said, "Hey, Matt, and I'm looking to get out on the water. I don't know what to do. Who do I go to?" Is it you're kind of like a clearinghouse for that? Is that the way it works?
Yeah, I try to be. I try to vet out, everything that they're looking for and see where they're from. And I usually know somebody within driving distance that has either volunteered or is already in existence of a nonprofit.
So when we come back, we have 30 seconds to break. When we come back, I kind of want to talk about that process. What does it look like for the veteran coming to you, and your vetting process, and you trying to figure out what's going to work best for them? And so you're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We're here with our friend Matt Ferry. He's fantastic. We'll get some more about where you can find out more about him and what he does for veterans through fishing. And so we're going to hear some from our sponsors. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll be back with more of Putting the Pieces Back Together with your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders, after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's just way too small. Yeah. Oh, well, now it's way too big. Yeah. I was kind of looking down when I did that. That might be an outtake somewhere. That's just way too small.
Oh man, yeah.
That was a good segue there, Kevin, earlier when you said speaking of sales. Great segue.
Well, I went
it took me a minute to go.
school,
What are we?
There was no segue.
Yeah.
He tried.
I was trying.
It was great.
Yeah.
It makes for great radio.
Yeah.
I'm the king of segues. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, so, so Matt, is there anything particular that you want to talk about that we haven't hit on, that a story or something that you just want to say or get out?
That's a loaded question,
isn't it?
No, I mean it's kind of coming along fine as far as what I want to discuss and things of that nature. I just think that, especially like the older folks that aren't really social media friendly, I highly recommend to those folks to just get on there for the sake of connecting to other veterans, because it's such an untapped tool.
What's the page that they can go to on Facebook?
Mine is Right Minds, Tight Lines.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And he's pretty easy to find. Big picture of him and a fish. Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, that would be my personal page. I hopefully don't have a picture of me and a fish as the profile.
You don't have you and a fish. I think that'd be a great.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah, your logo is. Yeah, your logo's. That's the logo. Right?
Oh, that is the logo
Yeah.
right there. How about that? Yeah, that's awesome.
All right.
So we'll make sure to mention that when we get back on the air again too. That
Yeah, man, we can share it in the we can share the email address in the
30 seconds.
in the link in the comments.
I know how a lot of people feel about social media, but I feel the same way. It's a useful tool if used properly.
It absolutely is.
That's right.
Yeah.
I basically on social media.
You just basically live on social media.
I talk about
You're
PHH,
always
and that's
on-
it.
you're
That's the
always
only
on
thing I
social
do
media.
on social media.
You're a pariah.
A pariah?
Yeah.
Is that really even the correct word right here?
Here
No.
we go.
That's-
Mics are going off.
I mean,
Back together with your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
we're back. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We've got a great guest today, Matt Ferry of Right Minds and Tight Lines. And he's been talking to us about the therapy of fishing and how that's affected his life. And we've even had some caller in to talk about how Matt impacted his with the program that he started.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I got this is still on fishing, but what's the greatest fish story that you have?
Oh yeah,
Your greatest
Gotta hear a
fish story.
It's got to be my personal best largemouth bass. I think that is the same for a lot of guys, but I was by myself and having a rough day, and this was right around the time frame that I started the page, so it was all serendipitous. But I was in a place that I never fished, and fast forward through the details.
You gonna tell us where?
It's a yes.
No, you can't tell us where, right?
No
He's shouting
kidding.
his
Wow.
leg. He's a great fisherman.
I think they've since filled it in, to be quite honest with you. It's called North Ponds Park in Rochester, New York.
Oh, no
Webster,
kidding.
New York.
Okay. All right. All right.
Um,
What rod? What were you using? Right.
So for anybody that fishes, there's a couple different kinds of styles. Finesse fishing is one of them, with soft plastics and soft baits, things like that. That's what my biggest style of fishing is wacky worm, or they call it a Texas rig, which is just a straight up and down artificial worm. Those are my favorite techniques, and I caught it on a wacky worm, which is basically a hook right through the center of the
wacky worm.
center of the bait.
That was the name of my punk band back in the 80s.
You had a lot of punk bands.
Yeah,
no
kidding. Well, he kept getting kicked out
That's
of the punk band.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what was what's the verdict? What would that thing come in at?
So it was 8 pounds, 6 ounces.
My heavens.
And for New York, that's big.
That's a
big for-
baby.
That's big for anywhere.
Yeah, it's a baby. You're right.
Yeah, it's a baby right there. Man, that's a big fish.
Do you got that one up on the wall somewhere?
No, I mean I have a very grainy video from a flip phone of me holding
right,
it.
yeah.
But I also weighed almost 300 pounds at that time myself, so I try to not watch the video too much because my head is about this big around.
Where you do not weigh that
Wow.
now, man.
No, yeah.
So-
For the listeners who cannot see Matt, he is substantially smaller than 300 pounds, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm closer to that, but
So, yeah. So, what did you do? This is another side of the story, but being carrying around extra weight is unhealthy, right? For us long
Oh, yeah.
term. And so, what was your path to to get physically back intact?
I mean, I quit drinking the day after St. Patrick's Day. in 2015, like cold turkey.
Mhm.
And I
Wow.
turned around and started living in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I spent probably the next 120 days straight there, and lost a good portion of it in that first 3-4 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a conscious decision to make a positive change in your life.
Yeah, my family doesn't really produce a lot of heavier set people. Not that that's a you know a diss in any fashion.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Matt? I
Yeah,
think
might
we lost you, Matt. If you can still hear us, are you
Yeah.
there?
Okay, good.
All
Yeah.
right, he's back.
All right. Carry on, brother.
Not sure where I left off.
We were just talking about how okay, so we did lose Matt. We lost connection there, so maybe we'll get him back.
I think
in a
he got
second.
tired of hearing your puns about punk bands there. It's
puns about punk bands. That was my other punk band.
that was your
back
other
in
punk
the
band.
80s.
Yeah,
So,
it's
so if you're just tuning in, we've been listening to Matt Ferry with Right Minds and Tight Lines. You can find out more about Matt. You can if you're a veteran and you know a veteran that's looking for an opportunity to go fishing as a part of the healing process, you can go to info@veteransfishing.com. That's the email that he takes requests at, and you can go and just email Matt, and he'd be glad to take care of you. And one of the things that I was telling Matt when he was on is that my friend Clay Turner, who was my pastor when I was young, has a unbelievable piece of property up in the mountains right next to the Pisgah National Forest, and it's got 3/4 of a mile of a river up there. And for about the last 25 years, he's been feeding the trout in that section of river, and he has twice a year he has veterans come up and fish, and those fish the trout are amazing. I mean, they're 6-7 pound, 24, 25, 30-inch trout, and they're just beautiful.
those are some monster trout.
They
there.
are absolute monsters, and he's got this one spot that he calls the aquarium. It's this huge hole. And he took me up there, and he buys this special food for him right off his website. He's been feeding them the same thing for 25 years, and you throw it in, and it's like piranha. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, there's hundreds.
Are they
of
like
these
flopping
fish in
out of the water and all that? But
Yeah,
hey,
absolutely.
look at that.
there. And Matt is back. Yeah,
Matt
man.
is back.
Sorry about that. The app decided to just close down on me.
That's all right.
No
That was the
worries.
name of my punk band back in the 80s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we were talking about fishing, and then we moved into fitness. And Matt, obviously, you're still taking care of yourself, and so good on you. What do you got coming up? We're getting ready to come to the end of the show. What do you got coming up? The veterans can get involved with. You got any tournaments and the veterans can get involved with? And I've already gave out your email address for people to get in touch with you. But you can find him at Right Minds and Right and Tight Lines on Facebook. Is there another place that folks can find you?
So no, I mean, as far as finding me online, you pretty much summed it up.
Okay.
This year, I'm going to be transitioning into a much more in-person.
I think the app just does not want to cooperate. There.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we lost you a little bit there again,
Still
but we got you back. Yeah.
Sorry. So I was basically given the opportunity to use a cabin at Lake Gaston by an individual that I met this year in Apex, and he is giving us the full use of this cabin to take veterans to. Also, a friend of mine that I was in the Marines with runs charters out of Swansboro, and we're going to try to run some trips there.
That's awesome. Lake
Oh, that's
Gaston
great.
is the scene of the crime for me, where
The
I
scene of the
lost the biggest largemouth bass that I never caught. That's my fish
the
story, Lake
fish
Gaston.
story.
Yeah,
I
so
see.
it was the one that got me hooked on bass fishing, though.
Oh.
It came up out of the water, and I was like, "This is the greatest day of my life." And then the line broke, and it was all over. So,
So you actually got to see the fish.
I saw
before
it.
did.
Yeah, I still etched in my memory.
It
Man.
was
I'll never forget it.
what, like 3.5 foot long,
It
27 pounds.
It was a monster. It had teeth, right? Yeah, Lost Bass. That was the name of my punk band back in the 80s.
Yeah, Lost Bass. Oh my gosh.
So Matt, I did want to let you know, and this is for folks that are local to our neck of the woods. The Foothills Kayak Anglers are putting on a kayak fishing tournament on Lake Norman. It's going to be in July. And all of the proceeds are going to be coming to Purple Heart Homes so that we can help veterans with their housing needs. We're really excited. Our friend Fenway I didn't know this about Fenway. Like I ride bikes with Fenway and do workouts with him.
He's a sportsman.
I did not know he was like a jam-up fisherman. And
Fenway, if there's a sport that you can do outdoors, I'm pretty sure that he's involved somehow.
He is an amazing human being. So, Chris, Matt, we cordially invite you to come up and take part in that event, and we'd love to meet you.
That would be fantastic.
It'd be great to have you, and we'll shoot you the information on that. Hey, we got about 3 minutes, man, but I want to give you the last word here. What if there's a veteran out there that's struggling? What do you want to say to them right now?
Stop thinking you're alone. That's the number one thing you can do for yourself. Is the minute that you start thinking that you're the only one that's in your hole of misery or sadness or whatever it is, you're not the only one. There is a plethora of veteran services out there that weren't there 10, 20, 30 years ago. And all you got to do is make one move, make one phone call, make one text. And usually there's people just jumping at the chance to help. And I can't stress that enough. You're not alone.
Agreed, man. We're really thankful for that, and it is true, man. We all need to know that we're not alone. It's really hard to do life by yourself, and life wasn't meant to be lived by yourself.
Absolutely not. And there's definitely those folks out there that understand. And it's not just veterans that feel like that sometimes.
Absolutely.
So if whether you're a veteran or a civilian, and if you're feeling that way, reach out to somebody.
Yeah, we got about a minute left. I want to let everybody know that Military Makeover is coming to Statesville. And
that's right.
Jared Bowman and his wife, Sydney, and their 4 kids have moved out of their home today. They had to move. They moved out lock, stock, and barrel. They moved out today, moved down to a temporary residence outside of town. And
secret location.
Secret location, and the work is going to begin. There's volunteer opportunities. You can find out more about that at our website, phhusa.org. But that's going to be going on over the next 12, 14 days. Is that entire home is going to be made over, and it's going to be a pretty incredible thing. We're really grateful.
Yeah, it's such a great thing to be a part of that, Matt.
Who we got next week, man?
Honestly, I don't know. It's a surprise guest. You'll have to come on to our page and look at it.
Well, you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
I have some Marines that I can recommend.
All right.
Marines, more Marines.
Thanks for joining us. God bless you. Have a great weekend.
You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. Please consider making a donation to this worthwhile cause dedicated to improving the lives of veterans one home at a time by visiting purplehearthomesusa.org. Join us again next Thursday at 3 p.m. for Putting the Pieces Back Together on WSIC News Talk Now.
The new.
Hey, Matt, thanks, buddy. Great show, brother. That was awesome.
Thanks for coming on. We enjoyed having you.
Yeah. Look forward to meeting you, buddy. And I'll be at that tournament. I won't be fishing, but I'll be watching. Right? I might be fishing from the bank.
I want to get all the info and try to make it happen for sure. Because I wish I was there in person today. You know, I told Chris that I wish I had been able to come.
No, that's
okay.
Hey, we can have you back on. We're actually going to have. We're going to have the dudes from the tournament. They're going to be on in studio right before it happens. So we'll have Fenway and John. John House is the guy's name. He's pretty legit.